Hey, guys, let me tell you about Danny's terrifying encounter with the VHS Phantom. Danny was a huge fan of obscure horror films, the kind that never made it to DVD or streaming, so when he found a box of unmarked VHS tapes at a flea market, he couldn't resist. The vendor, a frail old man with hollow eyes, smiled as Danny picked one up. "That one's special," the old man rasped. "You might not want to watch it alone." Danny smirked. "That's the best way to watch horror." That night he dusted off his VCR and slid in the tape. Static filled the screen, then flickered into grainy footage of an empty room. Dark, old-fashioned, with floral wallpaper peeling off the walls. A single wooden chair sat in the center, facing the camera. Then movement. A figure stepped into view, tall, unnaturally thin, dressed in a suit that looked like it belonged in the 1920s. His face. There was something wrong with his face. The shadows concealed most of it, but Danny could make out a wide, unnatural grin, too wide, stretching beyond the limits of human anatomy. The man stood motionless, staring at the camera. Danny shifted uncomfortably. The screen flickered. The man in the suit took a step forward. Static. Another step closer. Static. Now he was at the very edge of the screen, his grin impossibly wide, his eyes black voids locked onto Danny. The screen cut to black. Danny exhaled, shaking his head. "Cheap jump scare tactics," he muttered. But then something moved in the corner of his room. He froze. His TV was off. The room was silent. But in the reflection of the dark screen, he saw it, the man in the suit, standing behind him. Danny spun around. Nothing. His pulse thundered as he grabbed the remote and rewound the tape. The footage played again. Empty room, chair, the man stepping forward. But this time something changed. The man wasn't just staring at the camera anymore. He was looking at Danny. A whisper crackled through the speakers. "You shouldn't have watched." Danny's stomach turned to ice. He hit stop. The tape kept playing. He unplugged the VCR. The tape kept playing. The screen flickered violently. The man's face twisted, contorting into something inhuman, his grin splitting open, revealing a black void where his mouth should be. His head jerked unnaturally as he stepped out of the screen. Danny screamed. The TV shattered. Glass rained onto the floor, but the static didn't stop. The air in the room grew thick, suffocating. The whisper came again, right behind him. "Now I can see you too." The last thing Danny felt was icy fingers closing around his throat. The next morning, the police found his apartment in shambles. The TV was nothing but shards. The VCR melted into the carpet. But the strangest thing, Danny was missing. All that remained was the VHS tape still playing on a loop. And in the grainy footage of that dark room, the wooden chair was no longer empty. Danny was sitting in it, grinning.